Morning, traders. Welcome to Trading Together. I'm Mel Gacee. Today is Tuesday, July the 14th. How are you all today? How is everybody doing? So far, we've opened up today with a great couple of trades, a couple of little minor ones, and then I took a couple of better ones. So, having a good day already today. I hope you are as well. If you're here this morning, I just want to say welcome. Thanks for being here. Drop your name in the chat, say hi. This is a friendly, safe, interactive space. This is a place for you to ask your questions. There aren't that many places out there where you can just ask your trading questions. I'm not going to charge you. I'm not going to belittle you. This is a place to grow and learn as a trader. So please feel welcome and don't be intimidated about putting any kind of newbie or silly questions. There's no such thing. I'll guarantee you this. If you have the question, else does as well. So don't feel, nervous to do that. Just drop your name in the chat, questions in there. Alyssa is here. Good morning. Welcome. All right, let's talk about the morning that we have had so far. We opened up this morning with a bit of a gap up after a good CPI print. So basically, the CPI is the Consumer Price Index. That is basically a report of consumer prices in the country. The Feds, the FOMC, use this and other reports to get an idea, a handle on what's going on with our economy, specifically with inflation. Now, as you and I know, we live in the real world. We know inflation's out of control. We know consumer prices are out of control, but the CPI, or CPI, as some people like to call it, has given us a really nice reading this morning. Inflation's down beautifully, blah, blah, blah. And the market did give us a nice bounce pre-market. So that report came out pre-market, 8:30 Eastern, before the market opened. And we got a nice pop. So we opened up with a gap up, and then we've really proceeded to not do much. I'll show you, excuse me, what these charts look like. We're getting a bit of sideways range here. We got these are the cues. Let me get to the SPY. Similar, but a little different. Push down at the open, pull back up, push down, pull back up. We broadened this range out. It's kind of a reverse triangle. We call that a megaphone pattern. So a lot of times I'm talking to you about triangles because we're seeing them on the daily charts, but the reverse of a triangle is a megaphone. So you've got the higher highs, lower lows, and basically what we infer from that is volatility is picking up, ranges are expanding. It doesn't necessarily tell us which direction the megaphone breaks to, but basically it's telling us the ranges are getting wider, the volatility is getting higher. That's basically what the megaphone tells us. So now in the case of the cues, it is a bit of a megaphone here. You can see it, but really look at this top. This is something to pay attention to. That is a significant defense of this top level right in through here. I'm going to put it right here. 719.94. I bet you that's 720. I'll put it at 720. Oh, there's a pop. I'm going to come over here and look at calls. We do have, when we're looking at volume, we do have the calls. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm late on this one. They sprung it on us too fast. Let's see if we can catch a downward move here on this call. Come on. All right, I'm going to try the call right here. This is a little bit riskier. Be careful if you decide to follow. Do that at your own risk. This could be a little bit of a riskier trade here. So just as we were talking about that top on the Qs, boom, they blew right through it. All right, Maria is here. Good morning. And Nick is here. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. I'm in a call currently. I'm going to get out right here. I'm out. Punch it. That should be, looks like 5%. It's okay. It's all right. We'll take it. I took that call based on this candle. That's why I said be careful. It is risky. It is risky. When you trade these candles, you got to be careful because sometimes they're nothing more than a liquidity sweep. Other times they are directional, and it's hard to know the difference. But when I see a long volume candle with a long candle, red or green, and a long wick that has pulled back, usually will come back and will retrace that wick back upwards. So that is a trade I take. It is a little riskier, but it does play out nicely most of the time. Look at that. Could have made a lot more, but that's okay. I always tell you guys not to say that, so I'm not going to say it. It's okay. I'm okay making my little base hits. I've made several trades today. I'm doing fine. I beat my goal for the day already. I'm not complaining. So, all right. And I've been mostly bullish today, even though there is some negativity under the hood. We had all the bank earnings. We had a positive CPI. All the bank earnings did well. All the banks are doing well. The financial sector is looking good. So that's going to give the market a boost. Plus, again, we've got, a nice CPI, a nice CPI. So that is giving the market a boost as well. So we're currently up about 35 points over yesterday's close. So remember, the market is measured in terms of yesterday's close. So whenever you see that the SPY is up and it'll say 0.49%, well, what does that mean? It means it's up 0.49% from yesterday's close, not from today's open, from yesterday's close. So that is what we're looking at, and we're green today. Strong push here. We just played this move. All right, Tony. Was there any news? I don't know, Tony. I haven't seen anything, but look at these two couple of spikes doing the same thing. We had this candle over here, did the same exact thing. Now, what happened here? Remember, I just said this setup is a little riskier because sometimes they'll go and they'll retrace all the way back up to the top of the wick, just like this one did. Other times, it's just a liquidity sweep, and it was. In this case, look what they did. Poof, popped it up there. What are they doing here? They're getting the puts. They're snagging the puts, right? So if anybody's sitting here in puts from maybe this move, okay, they pushed against them, boom, they triggered all their stops, moved it down a little bit, and continued on their way. So these types of candles don't always play out. This, if I'd have traded this, I would have lost. If I'd have traded what I just did on this candle, if I would have done it on this candle, I would have lost. So I would have waited for it to come back down, which it did. And then my expectation would be that it would come back up. It did not. It went back down. Now, could I have waited it out? Yes. But that would have been a decent loss from here to the VWAP. Plus, I would have been stuck in it for, well, an hour, right? Let's see, that's 10:30 to 11:10. So basically 45 minutes I would have been stuck in it. I would have been down significantly waiting for it to climb. And maybe right in here might have gotten a break even after an hour. So that's the tricky side of this particular trade. All right, so just as we were marking off this top here for the Qs, just as I was putting this line in place, what did it do? Boom, broke that top. That was, and it hit it so many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7, 8 times this morning on the minute chart. It kept hitting that top. Trump said something the market liked. Okay, what did he say? Does anyone know? Do you know, Tony? All right, Nick. Oil is flowing like never before, thanks to the awesome power of the United States military. Special salute to Secretary of War Hegseth, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Okay, oil is flowing like never before. Well, he can say that, but oil is up today, has been. Let's see if it came down since his little tweet. Well, it did. It did come down. Sweet crude sitting at 78. Where's Brent? Brent sitting at 83. Both have elevated, but not like they were this morning. They were up this morning 3%. So they've come down. They're settling down. So maybe the market is happy about that. All right, said he would charge, 20%. I saw that to use the straight to freak out the countries over there and to trade deals. Yeah. Well, he's a good negotiator. You got to give him that. And, it has cost us to try to get that straight open. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. But at any rate, oil has come down. It was up more this morning. Thanks, Freaky. That's the quote. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. SK Hynix out of control. 18% elevated. Wow. Out of control. Okay. So remember, SK Hynix is the big South Korean company that just went IPO, debuted on the US system as an ADR, as a foreign company trading in the United States. They are very similar to MU or even Intel. They have been really volatile lately, and so has the South Korean stock market. So it's really something to watch here to see how Hynix does on the US stock market. Today, they're really screaming, so they're getting a real strong push up there. All right, here's a little pullback. Do we want to consider puts? I don't think so at this moment. We're a little too far from the VWAP. We are getting a MACD rollover, so we could consider it, but we're building a trend line here. You can see it. We've got higher lows, higher highs. So we're in a trend right now. I'll show you by drawing a quick line. You can see it with your eyes, but just to make it a little easier to view, here's our trend line, and that's rough. Remember, this is in the eye of the beholder. Things like patterns and trends are more artistic renderings, if you will. They're not precise. What you want to catch when you're drawing a trend or a top or a support or a resistance, you'd like to catch 3 touches, right? So that's what we've got here. Touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, about to touch again. That's how I draw trend lines. We've got a channel on the top we can see as well. Higher high, higher high. So do we want to take a put? Not right this minute. Doesn't mean it wouldn't win. Doesn't mean we aren't coming down. I'm just not taking it yet. Let's watch and see if we get a break of the trend line. We're breaking the 21. We've got a distance away from the VWAP. Blackout news. Hello, good morning. Going for 754. SPY can piss off with this price action. I hear you. It's been challenging, right? Going for 754. Yep, could be. Blackout's sitting on 2 losing trades. I know the feeling, blackout. It is frustrating when the direction is hard to define or we're taking counter trend trades and they're hurting us. I know exactly what you mean. Let's see where the target is. You're calling 754. Could be. Looks like support here. Right now, max volume sitting at 752 on the call side. But we have a call wall at 756, which is really a good deal above us. On the put side, our max volume is sitting at 750. Now we've already been there. We've already been to 752 as well. So right now we're kind of just in between. Looks like support here. Maybe where this green line right here is the top of our opening range. So I take the range of the first 15 minutes and mark that off. That's what this green line is. That's the top of our opening range. They're sitting on it. We did break the trend a little bit, but we haven't come down to the VWAP. I'm not taking it. I don't like the put here. Even if we have the signals, I'm not taking it. VIX is giving us a little push up here at 16.4. Remember that is not super elevated for the VIX. It's kind of in the meh territory. Remember when I showed you 15 yesterday on the VIX and I said, looks like we might spike, or the day before? when we hit 15 and then we popped it up yesterday. So watch that 15 level. It's really been a bouncing zone. It's been a trampoline for the VIX. And of course, you know, when the VIX jumps, it is signifying that there's fear in the market. So we usually will see the market come down. So VIX up, market down, usually is how it goes. When it's diverging from that pattern, you really need to pay attention, because that usually means somebody's lying, something's about to change. All right, little look below and fail here maybe. Little bounce off of the opening range high. Coming back to the trend, we could actually move this down just a bit, tag that lower wick, just tag the wicks. You can draw trend lines any way you like. You can tag the bodies, which would be completely acceptable. You can tag the wicks. Like I said, it's more, trend lines are more artistically interpreted. All right, coming back up. If we get a dump from this trend line, now that we're trying to get back inside of it, that is a negative signal. So let's see what we do here. They came down under it. They tried to push up over it. If we get a reject here, that might be a little bit more of a bearish signal, something to watch for. Again, our volume is saying that it's on the call side right now, 752, which is right where we're sitting. We've got growing volume at 753 and 754. There is some growing volume there. Let's go look at the gamma again. Okay, 1.2 billion in positive gamma, positive net gamma. That is something to pay attention to. 2.7 on the put side, 4.6 on the call side. That was skewed way differently this morning. It's starting to brighten up. It's starting to move to the upside. Call wall sitting at 755, put wall sitting at 749. So that is something to be aware of. I am going to look at calls here at the 752 strike. They're not too expensive. I'm not in them yet. I want to see us get that MACD to roll over. Nice bounce off the opening range. There, we're bouncing inside. We're reclaiming that trend. That MACD doesn't want to roll. Lots of volume right here at this strike, 752. That's where the volume is, at least on the call side. And that MACD is just not, it's not going with the flow here. So we got to pay attention to that. Sometimes waiting on the MACD will miss the majority of the move. It happens. I'd rather have the confirmation and miss the move. I don't want lower. Don't say that. I'm in 0 DTE 754 calls. Okay. All right, Blackout. Good luck. I hope that those pan out for you. Just out of curiosity, why 754? That's a bit out of the money. Why did you decide on that strike? Just out of curiosity. And we're just riding this trend line, and the MACD is just not on board with this move yet. Pre-market wick fill. Okay. So here's my suggestion, Blackout. When you are doing 0 DTEs, you will probably do better purchasing at the money. You'll pay a little bit more, but they will move better in your favor. And the idea is, for me at least, I want a delta of 0.5 or better when I'm trading 0 DTE. So just a thought there for you. And I don't know how familiar you are with like charting options, but if you go out and chart the 754 and chart the 752, you can see there's going to be a difference in the way those options move. So just a thought there. Not telling you how to do it. Out of the money is, it's fine. It's just that when you're looking at the lower deltas, usually it's going to be harder to get your money out of them. Just a thought. All right. Get it and understand the Greeks. Awesome. Okay, so we are just riding this trend line. See this? It's not really making any decisions yet. Small position. Okay, I'm with you. Good luck, Blackout. I hope it goes in your direction. I think we will come up and tag probably 754. It's also where the high of day from yesterday is. You're welcome. Look at it, just ride that trend. Do you see that? Just riding right on top of it. We're finally getting the MACD to roll. And we're right here at our top, so we got to be careful. We have a little bit of a higher wick over here up to 753. But here's our current or most recent swing high, so we got to be careful. There's not a lot of room. I do kind of like the calls here. I am looking at the 752s. My puppy would like to say hi to everybody. Say hi. Say hi. She knows when I'm on the stream. She thinks she needs to be the star. Scarface, good morning. And if Emmy gives us the yip, that's the signal to buy. All right, I do like calls here, but I'm cautious because of this recent swing high. We tagged it, came up and tagged it, and reversed. So I do think we're going up higher, but I'm a little cautious about this particular entry. And they're just making these teeny tiny candles. Back to what you said, Blackout. The price action stinks. They make it very hard. BMNR up nicely today, up 10%, which is interesting because Bitcoin is, last I checked, it was up a bit. It wasn't going crazy. Where is my Bitcoin? Oh, I guess it is going crazy. Bitcoin up 5%, up to 65. Nice push on Bitcoin there. I am bullish on the crypto space, even though it's been really taking a beating for the last several months. I am long-term bullish on crypto. I think that's here to stay. Let's put it that way. I think Bitcoin crypto is here to stay. All right. It was really slow to get up here. Yes, it was. And look at what it did. Right here, this little wick, right at this most recent high, and then gave us a little reversal. Doesn't mean it's going down, but it's just playing here, right? There's just no real push. And there's a rejection. So this is why I don't usually take a trade once I get the confirmation, which I did right there. 11:29 Eastern, I had the confirmation. The MACD finally rolled, but we only had just a little bit of room before we got to the recent swing high. And you just never know. You don't know if they're going to blow through that high and continue on because we had this trend, right? Are they going to blow through that high? They made it look like they were. Let's zoom out so you can see. They will build these structures and make it look one way and then switch it all up. So here was our trend line. We rode that trend line for, what is that, 10, 15 minutes. They rolled the MACD, but here we are right at the recent swing high. So I didn't take that trade. And what did they do? Boom, they just broke the trend line. So got to be aware of these levels. Watch the recent swing highs and lows, watch overnight highs and lows, watch yesterday highs and lows, and watch the opening range highs and lows. Those are important. Those are the levels I'm always watching. All right, blackout stopped out. Bummer. I am sorry. They do make it challenging, and especially when you're sitting in a trade and they're just playing these little games, it's so frustrating. I do think we're going to get up there. I think that's the direction, but they're just playing, and that's frustrating. All right, MACD turned red again. We do have put signals, but I'm not going to take that either. We're a little bit too high over the VWAP. We are sitting right on the opening range. So I'm going to give this some time for them to show us what we're doing. They need to show their hand. Okay, break of the range here. Volume growing at the 750. It's been sitting at 750 on the put side for a while, but we're not far off of the 750. We're sitting right now at 751, not too far away. VIX has given us a little pop again, but again, nothing major, 16.4. All right. If we get down to the VWAP and push through it, we might consider a put, but it's going to be a little bit too extended, so I probably won't. Extended is what I mean by that is if the move, so the move kind of started here, this recent move, if this move has been going on, for 10 or 15 minutes when we get to the VWAP, it might just be too old. So I'm really sensitive to how long a move has been going. SanDisk up almost 6%. Nice push here. They dipped at the open and then pushed back up. AMD up almost 6%. MU up 5%. SpaceX trying to claw back up to 142. NVIDIA is up 2.5%. All right, we get a bounce here off of this opening range high, and we get a MACD reversal. I might consider calls here. We do have a little bit more room to the top. So let's see if we can get that MACD to roll. And SPY is just not doing much of anything today, up about 0.3%. Qs are up much more, 1.3%, 1 full percentage point higher on the Qs than on the SPY. SPY is just kind of waffling today, honestly. The MAGs did come up. So the MAGs were negative earlier. Remember, that's the ETF that holds the so-called magnificent seven stocks: Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, NVIDIA, Google, Tesla. That ETF is a place I like to look to get just a gauge on how they're doing as a whole. Usually there's some split kind of performance. They're all kind of going in one direction, but maybe there's one or two outliers. So I like to just look at the ETF as a whole to give me an idea of where we're at. And so right now, MAGs are coming up. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon are really the only tech stocks not really participating in this rally right now. Microsoft down 1.3, Apple down 0.8, Amazon down 0.6. All right, still testing right here. Definitely see them trying to hold this level. 751, almost 752. There's a break. Brighter red MACD to the downside. But again, I'm not going to try to jump on a put here just because I really want to see the VWAP break. Now, once it breaks, it's probably going to be a little too old of a move, but we'll see. We'll see what we get. I'm going to pull this trend line off. That guy is dead. Now we're looking a little bit head and shouldery, aren't we? Looking a little bit head and shouldery here on the 1 minute. VIX giving us a small climb, 16.5. Hitting the VWAP right here. There we go. And we just pushed down through the 50 on the Qs. Okay, that's a negative downward move for sure. $753 really building in volume on the call side. All right, there's the break of the VWAP. So far, holding the VWAP. Last time we hit the VWAP right here, we bounced. So let's see if they break down through it or we bounce it again. All right, look a little bouncy here at the VWAP. I'm going to look at 751 calls. I'm not in them. I'm waiting for the MACD, but we did get a little bounce on the VWAP. Let's see if that MACD can roll for us. These little candles are not giving the MACD much to go on. That's why it's taken so long to turn. The last turn was a fake out right there. Kind of low volume, small candle action, not much going on here. No conviction yet to the upside. No conviction really to the downside. I mean, we did get this move here, but it's taken quite a while. VIX starting to come down a bit. When they're doing these kind of little bitty candles, a lot of times what you'll see is this kind of stuff. Get these little candles for half an hour, and then boom, one massive candle. They did it over here as well. It's super frustrating because it really is hard to trade. Very hard to trade. So I feel your pain, Blackout. It is very hard. So I am holding 751. When I say holding, I have the order ready to go. 751 calls. Let's see if this MACD, this candle maybe moves it. Let's see. There's the push. Up through the 21, up through the opening range. There's our MACD roll. I'm going to try the calls here. I'm in, punch it. That's a little trappy there. Red candle. If we break down through the VWAP, I'll probably stop out at that point. Otherwise, I'll hold this. I swear every time I say my stop out loud, it's like the market hears it. I don't set automatic stops. I just use mental stops. There's a break of the VWAP. I'm going to watch this candle. We close above it, then I'll hang on. We close below it. We'll see how the next one opens. There's a break. Okay, little green candle here. Recovering the VWAP. And back down under. They're just playing here. Volume is pretty low. Still just kind of playing here at the VWAP. I'm just giving it a little space. No recovery yet, but no, it hasn't quite lost it either. Well, I speak too soon. All right, back to this temporary bottom here. And the Qs are just testing their VWAP right now. All right, I'm out. That's it. Punch it. That was about 45. I think this is, I don't believe this drop, honestly, but I've got to honor my stop. So out on that one. I don't believe them. I think this is coming up. But the stops must be honored. It's important. All right. Well, we are out of that trade and we are at the end of the stream. So, unfortunately, that one was a loser, but honestly, it only takes a couple of trades. It's better holding a trade to the end of the day. Trust me. To take them, we've got to take the losing trades. I do think this is coming back up, believe it or not, even though it's looking pretty negative right now. It will come back up. But we'll try again as soon as the next setup presents itself. Thank you guys for joining and took a stop. Mel, you were doing very well today. Was, right, Tony? And I'm glad you took the stop. So we will be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for joining. We will see you tomorrow. And taking the losing trade is part of trading. So this is actually a good lesson too. Don't be discouraged. We've got to take the losses. It's okay. All right, guys, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.